I think I ruined it all. So last night, my wife asked me if I can make for her these marquee numbers that she will need for her deco gig. She needs number 2 and 5. My next question was, how fast would you want these? Then she was like, I'll need them by next week, Saturday. And I was like, yo, that's a bit hectic of a schedule, but I'll see what I can do. This is my second attempt at trying this. The first attempt went horribly wrong, like this. But this time around, it's early in the morning. I've got a fresh idea. I'm going to come up with a better plan. And this is what the end product looks like.
A man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasure.
So let's just get right to this build. My name is Roderick and welcome to my workshop. I used only a half sheet of 18mm plywood for both of these numbers. I started off by breaking down this sheet of plywood with my track saw to 100 by 60 centimeter blanks. I will need 2 of these blanks. I'm sure you're wondering, what went wrong with that first attempt of mine? Well, you'll need to wait till later in the video so you can see. A track saw is not really necessary for these cuts. You can also use a jigsaw and a circular saw with a straight edge. I just love how fast I can rip down these boards with my track saw. With little setup needed, you just mark a line, place the track and cut away. As for templates or plans for this build, I have none. I just look at some pictures that I saw on Pinterest, then I decided on the thickness of the number that I want. I already have my height and my width, so I just make adjustments according to the blank that I have. Just to take you back a little bit to that quote that I shared at the start, the big question that comes to mind is, what is my purpose? Well, I think this is something that you need to find out as you continue living on this earth. There is something called a job, which is something you go to school for, you learn, you become a qualified person in that job. But then your purpose now is probably something that is like your God-given talent or something you feel passionate about. For me, I enjoy woodworking. I feel like I'm probably a descendant of Joseph, Jesus' dad. And the purpose that I have is to share the skills and knowledge that I've learned over the years with as many people as I can reach and empower you to build stuff with your hands as well. So I use my circular saw to cut along the lines. I prefer using my circular saw at first for the longer cuts. The jigsaw has a tendency to drift away, making you have not much straight edges anymore. I cut with the circular saw till it touches the intersecting line, then I come and finish it off with my jigsaw. So I really want to know, what do you think of purpose? Have you found yours? I think exploring all of your interests is quite important. We have a limited time on this earth, so why not try as many things as you can, and then once you find your purpose, your days on this earth will be fulfilled. There's this awesome quote by Pablo Picasso. It says, "The meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away." I really love this quote and I live by it. As you could see with my smile, I was so excited how well these numbers came out. It was really looking promising compared to that first attempt of mine. So I used my belt sander with 100 grit sandpaper to smooth out this construction grade plywood. So now we need to make the slats that go around the outer edge of those plywood numbers. There's multiple ways you can do this. You can just get 8 to 10 mil plywood, cut it to size and mount it on. But I didn't really want those visible plywood edges, so I decided to use some pine boards as the slats, so I had to cut it down on the miter saw first. Then I went on to pull out my heavy bandsaw from the corner of my workshop for resawing. With the small workshop of mine, I really need a mobile bandsaw stand, which is going to be my next YouTube video, so stick around to see that. Just as a disclaimer, you can also resaw your stock on the table saw if you don't have a bandsaw. I sent those boards through my thickness planer to be a uniform 8mm thickness. Then I cut them to final width of 12 centimeters on my table saw. Now we can start mounting these slats onto the plywood numbers using glue and brad nails. This was a pretty fun experience. Could you please do me a favor and smash that like button for me if you've enjoyed this video thus far? It would really help my video a lot to spread to more people that might find this helpful as well. Thank you very much. So here, when it comes to the mounting of the slats, you might be worried a little bit about the angles. Well, it's not that complicated. Most of these are 90-degree cuts on the corners. Then for these angular cuts on the numbers, we use a 45-degree cut on the ends of the board. There was only one tricky angle that I had on the number 2, where I needed to use my angle gauge to figure out what angle we needed, and then I cut that specific angle on the miter saw. So as I had promised earlier in the video, let me show you what went wrong with my first attempt. I think I ruined it all. Let's check. So it's flimsy, as you can see. It's flimsy, there's gaps everywhere. I had a feeling it would be a bad idea when I started the glue up, but I had to persist. I didn't have short enough brad nails, so I ruined it. I need to start all over again. Let's just break it. And the final result was very nice and sturdy. My wife went on to paint these with a couple of coats of white oil paint, and it was ready for her gig. This is how it looked. So check out this awesome Punisher chair video that I made, and then I'm sure you'll love it. See you next time.